I couldn't stop staring at him, though I knew I shouldn't. Every time I looked, his smirk widened like he knew exactly what he was doing to me, and he did. The kind of smirk that made your chest tighten and your thoughts scatter into nothing but him. His hand still lingered on mine, and I swear I felt it everywhere, like it had a magnetic pull straight to my heart. I could feel the heat radiating off his body, the way his shoulder pressed lightly against mine, the way our legs brushed and my stomach did somersaults I hadn't known were possible. I tried to speak, tried to pull back, but the words failed me. He leaned closer, his voice low, almost teasing, almost dangerous. You feel it too, don't you? My breath caught. My pulse spiked. I wanted to say no. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to run. But the truth was buried so deep it hurt to hide anymore. Yeah. I whispered, voice trembling. I feel it. His grin softened just a fraction, just enough to make my chest ache. Good, he murmured. Because I can't stop. The words hit me harder than I expected. His confession, subtle as it was, made everything explode inside me. The restraint, the teasing, the insistence, it was all gone now. He wasn't hiding it anymore, and neither could I. We sat like that for what felt like hours, hands brushing accidentally on purpose, shoulders pressing together, faces close enough that I could feel the faintest touch of his breath on my cheek. Every nerve in my body screamed. Every instinct told me to pull away, but I couldn't. Why can't we just not think about this? I whispered finally, barely audible. Why does it feel like everything's changing just because we're sitting here? He tilted his head, smirk returning but softer this time. Because everything is changing. And we both know it. You know it, don't lie to me. I swallowed hard, nodding slightly, because I couldn't lie. Not anymore. And somehow, in the madness of the moment, I didn't want to. After that night, everything changed. Every glance at him, every accidental touch, every laugh that lingered too long carried weight now. Friends would ask if we were okay, but we just smiled, hiding the secret that neither of us could fully admit. And the more we hid it, the more it consumed us. Sometimes, he would lean too close in the library, or his hand would brush mine by accident in the hallway, and I would feel my knees go weak. Other times, he would catch my gaze during a boring meeting or a dull lunch, and I swear I could see all the things he wasn't saying flicker across his face. Desire, fear, longing. And every single time he would say, almost defensively, "This ain't gay." I'm not. I mean, you're not. But he couldn't finish it. He couldn't stop the way he looked at me. Couldn't stop the way he found me in a crowded room like I was the only thing that mattered. Couldn't stop touching me just enough to make me feel it without anyone else knowing. I wanted him. More than I had ever wanted anyone. But every time the thought came, it was laced with fear. Fear that we were crossing a line we couldn't return from. Fear that if anyone found out, it would ruin everything. And yet, that fear only made it more thrilling. The secrecy, the stolen moments, the intensity of emotions, it was addictive. One evening, after everyone else had left, we found ourselves alone on the rooftop again. The city sprawled beneath us, glittering and indifferent to the fire between us. He turned to me, eyes dark with something I didn't want to name. "I can't stop thinking about you," he admitted, voice low, almost a growl. "Every damn day. And I know it's insane, but I can't help it." My chest tightened, my hands shaking as I reached for his. "I feel the same," I admitted, voice trembling. "I've been feeling it for months, but I didn't want to ruin us." He leaned closer, and suddenly the distance between us evaporated. His hands brushed my arms, not by accident this time, and I felt like I was burning from the inside out. "We're already past that," he said softly, his forehead resting against mine. "We're already in it." I swallowed hard, heart hammering. Then, What do we do now? He smiled, mischievous and tender all at once. We do what feels right, he murmured. We don't stop. We can't. And we won't. From that night onward, we couldn't stop. Not because it was reckless, not because it was forbidden, though it was both, but because the truth between us had become impossible to ignore. Every moment together was electric. A shared laugh, a casual touch, a glance that lingered too long. And every moment deepened what I felt for him. The need to be close, the need to know him, the need to finally call him mine. One rainy afternoon, I caught him alone in the library. He was leaning against a table, soaked slightly from the sudden downpour outside, and the sight of him made my stomach do somersaults. Without thinking, I reached for his hand, our fingers intertwining effortlessly. He looked at me, and for the first time, there was no deflection, no denial. Only raw, undeniable truth. I can't stop, he said simply. Not thinking about you, not wanting you, not this. I laughed softly, a mixture of relief and disbelief. Then don't, I whispered. Don't stop. I want this too. I've been waiting for you to stop pretending that you could. He pulled me close, our foreheads touching, our breaths mingling, and I knew it. We couldn't stop. We didn't want to. And the secret? It didn't matter anymore. The truth of us was alive, raw, unstoppable, and it was beautiful. We stayed like that for hours, talking, laughing, touching, letting the world exist somewhere else. Every moment felt like a confession, every smile a promise. And I realized then, fully, completely, that I was in love with him, and he was in love with me. After that night, everything changed again, and yet, nothing did. In public, we were still just friends. Joking, teasing, acting like nothing had shifted. But behind closed doors, the air between us crackled with something undeniable. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. A brush of his arm against mine would turn into his fingers entwined with mine. A casual lean against the couch would turn into him pulling me closer until I was pressed against him. Every night he came back. Every night we told ourselves it would just be one more, just this once, just until the fire burned out. But it never did. If anything, it grew stronger. He'd show up at my door, eyes hooded, lips set in that dangerous smirk, and he'd mutter, "We're not doing this again," even as his hands were already on me. And every single time he'd add, "This ain't gay," like a prayer, like a curse, even as he leaned in and proved himself wrong. And me. I stopped fighting it. I stopped questioning it. Because every time he touched me, every time his arms wrapped around me, I knew the truth. This wasn't just lust. It wasn't just a mistake. It was him. It had always been him. Weeks turned into months, and the secret grew heavier. I could see it in his eyes every time we locked the door behind us, every time we lingered too long, every time he pulled away in the morning pretending nothing had happened. He'd show up at my door, eyes hooded, lips set in that dangerous smirk, and he'd mutter, "We're not doing this again," even as his hands were already on me. And every single time he'd add, "This ain't gay," like a prayer, like a curse, even as he leaned in and proved himself wrong. And me. I stopped fighting it. I stopped questioning it. Because every time he touched me, every time his arms wrapped around me, I knew the truth. This wasn't just lust. It wasn't just a mistake. It was him. It had always been him. Weeks turned into months, and the secret grew heavier. I could see it in his eyes every time we locked the door behind us, every time we lingered too long, every time he pulled away in the morning pretending nothing had happened. One night, he broke. We were lying side by side, the silence thick, the weight of the world pressing down on us. His chest rose and fell quickly, his hand clutching the sheets like it might anchor him. "I don't know what's happening to me," he whispered finally, voice raw, broken. "I keep telling myself it's not real, that it doesn't mean anything. But every time I'm with you, I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop. My heart clenched. I reached for his hand, lacing our fingers together. Maybe it's because you don't want to stop, I said softly. He turned to me, eyes shining with something unspoken, something vulnerable. But what if it's wrong? What if we ruin everything? I squeezed his hand. Then we ruin it together.